With us now, former Vice President Mike Pence, who just announced that he, too, has qualified for the Republican debate in about 2 weeks, making him the 8th candidate on the stage. Congratulations, sir. Good to see you. What do you have to say or do on the debate stage that allows you to break out from the pack that you're in right now?
Well, I'm just really grateful for thousands of people in just 9 short weeks that stepped out and supported our campaign and made it possible for us to qualify for the first Republican debate in just a few weeks. And, you know, for me, I'm looking forward to telling our story on that stage, sharing our vision, grounded in my long career in the conservative movement. Because one of the things I've come to realize, Leland, traveling around the country the last 2 years, is that I'm well known, but I'm not known well. I mean, you and I have known each other for a lot of years. You knew me when I was a conservative leader in the Congress. You knew me when I was a conservative governor. But most Americans know me as that vice president during those 4 consequential years. And I really do believe it's going to be an opportunity for me to share our story, to share our heart, our love for this country. But also, you know, campaigns are about choices. And so we're going to be taking the opportunity to really draw the contrast between myself, other candidates on the stage, and I'm looking forward to being there. I'm counting the days.
I think about, for example, your energy plan that you've released, and, you know, a clear case for American energy leadership, Biden's war on energy, immediately end Biden's war on domestic energy, cut permitting approval time in half, open drilling on federal land, remove restrictions on natural gas production and distribution. This stuff isn't really controversial within the Republican Party. It's pretty much sort of boilerplate in terms of what the vast majority of the Republican electorate agrees with. You said that well known, not known well. What is it that after 4 years as vice president, and arguably from a Republican perspective, a very successful presidency in terms of social issues, economic issues, certainly the Supreme Court and others, what is it that the Republican electorate doesn't know about you?
Well, Leland, I think both on a personal level, but also my long career in the conservative movement, you know, that energy plan that we just unveiled this week that people can go to MikePence2024.com and review is an effort to end Joe Biden's war on American energy. We're going to unleash leases on federal lands. We're going to make sure that we reestablish energy independence. But what's new and what's bold is that I've got a plan to actually have America retake our position as the leading energy producer in the world in the next 15 years.
I have to ask you about this because you say you're well known, not known well, but there is a big part of the Republican electorate that knows you very well. And I hate to be as direct as I am, but when we see videos of how you've been treated, they not only know you, but they just, frankly, a lot of them don't like you. Here was you in Iowa being interviewed by Tucker Carlson, a moment I know you remember. Take a listen.
I believe that it is in the interest of the United States of America to continue to give the Ukrainian military the resources that they need to repel the Russian invasion and restore their sovereignty.
Would you, may I ask, would you be, and I believe you have a good faith position on this, and we have disagreements on it, but I want to just, I can't let you elide over the question of the treatment of Christians. And
I know, I heard
and
that
would
again.
You be, well, no, but hold on. Would you be
problem is
willing,
you don't accept my answer.
How are you going to win the primary with that group of Republicans who don't like your views on Ukraine, but more importantly, a lot of them are very angry still with you on January 6th. Is this a group of minds you have to change? If so, how are you going to do it?
Well, those are 2 major and important questions, and I respect them both. Let me take the first one. Look, I joined the Republican Party in the days of Ronald Reagan. Ronald Reagan was the one who coined the Reagan doctrine that said, look, if you're willing to fight the communists in your country, we'll give you the means to fight them there so we don't have to fight them. And I'm going to stand on that principle. And I know that former Fox News host and others, some people in our party want to shy away from American leadership in the world. They want to shy away from our historic role as leader of the free world, the arsenal of democracy, but I won't. I believe in leadership, not followership.
We've said on this program multiple times that the closest we've gotten and the best example of a profile in courage in the past 40 years in American politics was how you acted on January 6th. That said,
Thank you, Leland.
there's a lot of, just the facts. I mean, there's nothing to be thankful about for it, but it's important to recognize and say that. But the voters, namely the Republican primary voters, there's a big percentage of them who are still very angry with you about that. And I'm wondering, can you win without them? And if not, how do you convince them that you were right on that day?
Well, look, I really do believe that number of voters is growing smaller every day. But for me, the challenge is just going to be to recognize that for the last 2.5 years, my former running mate and many of his allies in the media and the public debate have been telling those same Republicans that things that just aren't so. I mean, look, I took an oath to support and defend the Constitution of the United States, and it ended with a prayer, "So help me God."
Do you really believe that there's this large part of the Republican electorate who's just confused and really believes that Mike Pence, the vice president, or any vice president could just throw out the Electoral College votes? Or is it a more visceral anger? And you've got Donald Trump around saying you've gone over to the dark side. There's a cult of personality around him, for lack of a better term. And this isn't a matter of convincing them on facts. It's a matter of emotion, and you're never going to get them back.
Well, I believe we're going to get an awful lot of them back. And frankly, if I have the privilege of being the Republican nominee, I know we'll get them all back. Look, Joe Biden has weakened this country at home and abroad. I understand the deep frustration that millions of the American people feel at the failed policies of this administration, and frankly, at Joe Biden's election as president of the United States. But I'm convinced, as we let our yes be yes and our no be no, that more Republicans every day are going to come to see that candidly, the president asked me on that day to choose between him and the Constitution, but I chose to keep my oath to the Constitution of the United States. And I always will. And I believe at the end of the day, as people examine that, they examine the actual language of the Constitution itself, they look at our actions on that day. I'll leave myself to the judgment of Republican voters, to the judgment of history. And I like our chances in this upcoming Republican primary.
Well, and to that point, you have a strong track record in terms of how you purport yourself in front of serious challenges, sir. It's good to see you as always. We'll be with you on the trail in Iowa.
Thank you, Leland. See you at the State Fair.
Thanks for watching. Go to newsnationnow.com to find NewsNation on your television provider. And don't forget to subscribe. Click the red button to get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.